Man, huh, that's some strong whiskey. Holy crap, never again. All right. Yo! Hey, guys, what is up? What a freaking week. And I know for damn sure if your algorithm isn't already flooded with this nonsense, then I want to know where you're at and where you're hiding because I need to go there. Stay there. Don't come over here. It's madness, chaos, and stupidity. What we call selective standards. We're seeing the results of that right now. And it's flooding our algorithms. So stay there. In fact, hit the links in the description down below. Send me a DM and give me directions because I need to be there. I want to come. I'll bring the hot dogs and the popcorn. Okay? Let's just get away from this madness. All right, guys, let's get into it. It has been a crazy week. Selective standards. When you have them, they have results. And now I'm going to show you in this little clip here just what that looks like. And we're seeing it. And it's not getting any better. So let's get into it, guys. Links in the description down below. Hit the subscription button if you haven't already subscribed. Hit the like button. Share. You guys know what to do. Okay? Let's get into this. Oh my gosh. Okay. Let's get into this. I know that this is flooding all your algorithms. It is the Epstein stuff. I'm not going to go into all the other stuff that I'm pretty sure you already get enough of. I'm not going to add wood to the fire. What I am going to do is apply a little common sense in an uncommon world, especially from the leadership perspective, because I operate in the leadership realm for a living. I understand duties and responsibilities, roles and responsibilities, expectations, what exemplifies a good leader, because that's what we need. And I tell you guys constantly, that's what we need as a society right now. We need personal leadership. That's what we're all lacking in, and that's what we need right now. And when we don't have that, what I do see, and I have shared with you guys, is what you have as a selective standard. And what happens when you have a selective standard, you really are going to struggle to have a firm grounding to stand on when you are fulfilling a role and responsibility. Yo, seriously, team, when you have a selective standard, you don't have a ground to stand on as a leader. And then you're going to compromise the integrity of your team, of your organization. You're going to compromise the integrity of the accountability you're going to enable or you're going to enforce. And there's literally going to be confusion amongst those you're leading when you have selective standards. And confusion, you're opening the door for chaos. And guess what? You are about to see an example of that chaos. So what I'm going to show you guys here is a clip of what you guys know, the Epstein chaos is continuing. And of course, Congress held their hearings today with the Attorney General. And they went into basically what looked like a total, I'll just tell you this. If I was there, I'd probably be just sitting back with some popcorn and just kind of enjoying the show. It almost looked like a novella. Yeah, seriously, I would love to have seen that whole thing. Comment down below if you're with me on this one, but hear me out. Imagine that whole thing, but in Spanish. It would legit be a novella. Just imagine this clip I'm about to show you, but in Spanish. Oh, dude, that would be awesome. Let's get into this. Okay, so let's take a look at this.
Services. Attorney General Bondi, does a convicted sex offender like Ghislaine Maxwell deserve special treatment and privileges in prison? Yes or no?
Let me be crystal clear on this. No. And
Thank you.
let me keep going. No, let me keep going.
Perfect. Well, I
did not know she was being transferred.
I asked you yes or no.
She was not transferred to a lower
Mr. Chairman,
level.
please stop the clock and remind the witness of the rules. One rule she needs to understand
and I'm glad that we're agreeing. So when we're agreeing, we can move on to some other things. But I want you to know that every time she does get these perks, and it's been publicly reported, that the folks she's abused, the survivors who are sitting here.
So do you see what I mean by novela? I think you guys got that. I mean, imagine this, but in Spanish. You know, like literally you're watching a novela, and imagine that in Spanish. I think literally it'd be more entertaining. I think so. I don't know. Comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. But let's get into this.
They see themselves as being denied justice. They feel re-traumatized. And I'm glad that we agree on that. But she should not be in that prison. And she needs to be moved back to a maximum security prison as soon as possible. But what she has told another committee here is that she won't cooperate with them unless she gets clemency from Donald Trump. It's just crazy to consider that she can be wielding this kind of influence within the administration.
Oh, really?
But that begs the question, who ordered her to be transferred to the minimum security prison that she was ineligible for?
Right.
Who
Good
signed
question.
off on the special privileges?
Yeah, good question.
Was it Mr. Blanche? Was it one of your other subordinates? So please, can you tell us who sent her there, since you don't agree?
Okay, so get ready, because here is the novella. Now, get you this. Okay, I'll tell you this straight up as a leader. Okay, hey, those are good questions. Valid questions, straight to the point. But remember this. The key word, standards. Okay, so check this out. Here we go.
She should be there.
I said I do not agree she should receive special treatment. She was transferred, I learned after the fact, to the same level facility, and that is a question for the Bureau of Prisons. I was not involved in that at all. The same level facility, I don't know why, but you know, instead of talking about Ghislaine Maxwell, who hopefully will die in prison, hopefully will die in prison, you should be talking about Irina Zarutska.
I have a couple
who
of
died
other
on a
questions.
subway.
Right, and I absolutely...
You don't talk about that.
I have been talking about it and actually helping with these issues. But we're going to move back to you.
I bet we are.
Yes, of course, because you're here to testify. That's what the whole point of this endeavor is. So of course we're moving back to you.
Bro, oh my gosh. Okay. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying, guys? I hope you see what I'm saying. But like, okay, so right then and there, what you see what she did was she held her accountable to a standard that she had set. Now, she's looking at, okay, and mind you, I don't care what side of the fence you are on. I should have put this in the beginning. Hey, dude, you should have told me about that. Okay, I should have did a disclaimer in the beginning. Either way, guys, I don't care what side of the fence you're on. I don't care who you voted for. You know, we're Americans. We're human beings. That's all I care about. All right. But I'll tell you this, selective standards. That's what happens when you have a selective standard. When you have a selective standard and you enforce this, but you don't enforce this, you stand for this and you don't stand for this. But when you have that's what you call a selective standard. A standard, literally, if you're put in a position where you got to enforce, you have a role, you have responsibility, all right? That standard has to be the same across the board, regardless of anything else, regardless of race, regardless of ethnicity, regardless of gender, regardless of anything. If somebody puts me in charge of a district, well, guess what? In that district, and I'm just saying hypothetically, I am going to enforce the same standard across the whole district. I don't care how rich you are, how poor you are, what your gender is, what your ethnicity, who you voted for, what your political stance is. I don't care. That's what is a single standard. Okay? So when you have a selective standard, therefore now you're setting yourself up, because now you're not grounded. When you decide to go ahead and stand up for something, or you're going to enforce, you're going to ground yourself here. Well, then guess what? If you better make sure that standard was across the platform, because if you ground yourself here and you didn't ground yourself here, now they're questioning the integrity of your leadership, questioning integrity, accountability, integrity of the organization, and now you have instilled confusion amongst the people that you lead. There you go. Okay, but you know what? There's still more to follow. I'm going to show you one other side of this clip, and we're going to get into this.
And her lawyer dangled the offer of clemency. Should Donald Trump pardon or commute her sentence? Should she be released from prison, yes or no? You said you hope she dies there, so I'm hoping the answer is no.
I already answered that question.
Good. I'm very glad. I really like this bipartisan agreement about
when
what
it
should
agrees
happen
with
with
you.
her.
But you don't want to talk about Irina Zarutska. You don't want to talk about
I talk about her
murdered
all
by
the
a
time,
violent crime
but
offender
I am not
in
here
your
to
jurisdiction.
testify before Congress. You are. That is your job today.
You're
That's what you're getting paid for.
obsessed with attack.
So I want you to know that your own DOJ employee, he's recently been demoted and had some other problems, advised.
You see, if there's an example. So if she had that grounding, right? Now, granted, I'm going to be real with you guys. I don't know these, bro. Let me tell you, I only focus on my circles. Okay. So I will tell you this, though. This is just a good example of what happens when you have selective leadership and you're in a leadership role. You have selective standards. Well, guess what? You're playing that political game. You can't enforce this. You got to play that. You got to appeal to your constituents. You got to appeal to your donors. I mean, it's crazy the amount of chaos that's involved in politics nowadays. But aside from that, if she just held to that standard, imagine, flip this around. If she held the standard and been like, oh yeah, that female that you're naming, yeah, I handled that situation accordingly. That was in my district. I handled that, and all this has been done. Here's the result. If you don't believe me, feel free to read it in the Times. I'll make sure my staff sends you an article. Okay, now am I allowed to question you, though? Because from my understanding, the purpose of this whole situation here was I am not sitting in your seat. You are sitting in that seat, and therefore I have some questions on you. But if you're going to go ahead and question trigger my leadership, my resume is those that I'm leading. So there you go. Okay. Now, back to you. Do you blah, blah, blah. That's how that should have been. But when you have a selective standard, there's no ground for her to stand on because, yeah, the question is, you're going to enforce this, but you didn't enforce this. It's like, dude, what are you doing then? Like, now there's no ground to stand on. And the same goes for both sides. I don't care what side of the fence you guys are on. Everybody, they do it, all right? I'm sorry. I'm not trying to offend you guys. I'm a human being. I'm an American just like you. You're a human being, okay? We're humans. We have our own minds, independent thoughts, okay? This is my independent thought. That's it. Comment down below. Engage me. I would like to learn. Let's have a conversation. I would like to learn because I know there's so many rabbit holes you can go down here. Everybody's got... But dude, that's just what they want you to do. They want your emotion. They need to put this out there so you can get those clicks. They can get those likes. You can get those dislikes. Like, just feel something. That's what they want. That's exactly what they want. They don't want you to look at this and be like, huh, wow, looks like it could be a novella. Anyways, I'm going to go over here because I got to get my lawn cut and I got to get some bills paid and I got to get some groceries made and I got to get this doing. It's my son's birthday. I got to get this. Like, yeah. No, that's real life, real circle shit that matters to you. Well, they don't want that. They want to make sure this matters to you. Yeah, that's what that matters. Jeez. Anyways, let's see what else we got here.
On pardons. Do you think he will be advising Mr. Trump on any kind of clemency or pardon for Ghislaine Maxwell?
I'm not going to speculate, and you couldn't even identify properly. That's why you don't want to talk about Irina Zarutska. You couldn't properly identify her relative.
I absolutely
It's embarrassing.
have been, and her family, by the way, appreciates all of the condolences, all of the help, everything that...
Oh, man. You see what I'm talking about? It's a novella. All right. And it's sad, guys. It's sad. I see that, and it's hard for me in my role, my responsibility, my day-to-day as one of these people who serve in a leadership role with responsibilities and expectations and true shared understanding of every echelon that entails. It's hard. I'm telling you guys, it is tough. It is tough because you see that and you're just like, dude, what? We're cooked. Like, we are cooked. And it's just tough. It's tough to be resilient, but I know it's not impossible. It's not impossible. But we just got to learn how to channel our focus. It's easy to fall in these traps, guys. I know. I do it too. So don't fall in the noise traps because that's what that is. Let's find some common sense here. And the big focus of this is not the Epstein stuff, guys. Like I said, your algorithm's already flooded with a bunch of craziness. I'm not going to add wood to that fire. Understand that when you have a role and a responsibility as a leader, as a parent, as a husband, as a wife, as a boyfriend, as a girlfriend, when you have that status, you have a role and a responsibility. And there are responsibilities inherent in that role. Make sure whatever standard you have with that role, you keep it the same across the board. When you're selective on your standards, no matter what you do, I promise you, this is a foundational basic of leadership. When you are selective on your standards, okay, selective, this isn't 6-7. Yeah, no, it's not 6-7. Okay, stop that. When you're selective of your standard, you're gonna trickle down. The effect will trickle down and lead to compromising the integrity of your organization or your relationship position and accountability. You're going to compromise the integrity of your ownership. And most importantly, you are going to introduce confusion to those that you lead or those that you are serving in that role. And that's when the chaos starts to grow because you put all the right seeds in the ground, poured the water, and then here you go. Next thing you know, you have this giant tree of confusion and chaos just growing. And now you have a bigger problem. What I just showed you guys is that was my takeaway. Okay, now I'm pretty sure there's plenty other takeaways. In fact, I'm pretty sure you have your own takeaways. Comment down below. I want to hear about them. Hit that like button, subscribe. Links will be all in the description down below. Hit me up on Instagram. Check on me so I can check on you. And also, get yourself some cool merch at the Chaos Shop. But most importantly, let's stay grounded in all this noise and focus on what really matters in your life and who really matters in your life when you die. Who cries for you at your funeral is who you should be shifting all your focus and attention on, and not all this craziness that the algorithms are putting in your face. Okay? Just keep that in mind. All right, guys. Hey, I'm praying for you all. Stay blessed. Continue to find comfort in your chaos. And I'll see you on the next video.